We're going to look at a couple of different helpful ways to get typing on a path today, a couple of shortcuts as well. So I have my picture of Stevie Nicks loaded up in my Photopea, and this is a letter-sized 8.5 by 11 document that I've imported this picture to. You may be getting a little bit of a grainy picture while you're doing so, but that's okay because our main idea is to be using the text to illustrate our artist in this. I have my layer locked now by clicking on this lock so that I don't edit it at any point in time. And at this point, I'm going to go ahead and click on my pen tool to start tracing my major details in the face. I'm actually going to just zoom in a little bit so it's a little easier on myself. And my pen tool, I'm going to start by tracing where I think the edges of the face are. So I click on that first point. I don't click and drag, I just click on that first point. And then I'm going to click and drag on every point afterwards. So this will make the angle match up on the cheekbone. And as we work through the rest of our face. And you'll notice that it's like a pulling motion that I'm doing to get my angle correct. Some spots it may not be absolutely perfect, but if it's close enough, it will be recognizable. You'll also notice that my fill has that red X in it, and if it didn't, it would be COVID Stevie Nicks right now. You want to be using this red X in order to not give your person a mask or hide the details that you need. So the X on the fill color or the inside color, while the stroke color is your border color or the outline. So I'm leaving that as bright red so I can see what I've done. Once you're all set with your path, you're going to hit the Enter key. And that will solidify your path. That means if I were to go ahead and use the pen tool on something else now, I would be able to without it connecting to that original path. Now your text is going to want to follow along with the path. Now, if I had the whole face, for example, as one path, I would have bits where my text would be going upside down because of how that works. So if you want upside down text, that's great, and you can do whole shapes. But if not, you might want to be working in many little paths instead. It's up to you. That's a personal decision. Now our type tool, we're going in and I'm clicking as far left as I can. And we see that it aligned to that angle of my path. And I'm just going to copy and paste my text a bunch of times. And now at this point, I could delete my shape that this path is on. And when I hide my image, I see that it has conformed to the jawline. You may want to add line weight or make your text bolder, for example. So I can go into my options up top here next to my font and say, well, let's bold it and see what that does. Not all fonts will have all of these options and some will have more. You could also, for example, be decreasing the tracking. And now suddenly we have a lot more line weight. If you wanted less line weight, it could be the opposite. So using something that says light or using regular. Let's change this to extra light. And you could increase the tracking. Now my line looks a lot lighter. The second thing I want to recap with us today is a little bit more advancement anyway into the pen tool. So when you have things with a sharp edge, like the lips, for example, while they're not sharp as in pointy, they do have pretty much a 90-degree angle that separates the two sides from each other. So let's talk about how we could get that with our pen tool. And I'm going to just hide this text layer so that I'm not touching it as I go. When I start to trace it with my pen tool, you'll notice that it gives us this diagonal bar, which will tell us the angle that it's going in. And that bar prevents me from really getting a good handle on the other side there, because this is looking pretty unrealistic. So what you're going to want to use are the two shortcut keys, Alt and Control in this situation. The Alt key, I'm holding on the Alt key while I click on my anchor point, will remove the need for your anchor point to follow the curve that you have created. So when I go in to create my second anchor point, now we can see that it is following a 90-degree angle. And I can get a decent curve on the lip, just like that. The other key, the Control key, is good for moving things around. So as I'm holding the Control key, I can move around my anchor points. I can also move around my angles that everything's going. For example, I clicked on this anchor point and now I can change the angles. I'm just shortening that one a little bit, and we can see what would happen if I lengthened it as well. It creates a longer curve. So these are the settings that will help you out quite a bit when it comes time to get this work complete. You may be finding that there are certain spots where the text going upside down wouldn't be very helpful. So for me right here, and I just forgot to hit enter at the end of that shape, hitting enter now. And I'm getting a second shape in there. And I'm noticing that that same thing is kind of happening here where I'm not able to get the exact curve I want. So I'm using the Alt key to help me out a little bit there. And enter. And what I was saying is that this wouldn't be a great example of text going upside down helping me out. So I would want to do two paths at this point. That's my goal anyway, because those are my thoughts. So now once you use your text, again, you're paying attention to the line weight. Capitalization if you'd like. And I've copied and pasted, that way it will load my text than if I were to be typing it, hopefully anyway. Although it is just going a little bit slow right now. So the main thing that I'm trying to show you right now is that your text at this point, you might say, I want this to be a little bolder because it's lips and the lips are darker than the skin. Or you might want to say, I want it to look really delicate, so I'm going to decrease the size, for example. These are choices that you're going to be in charge of making successfully. So I could be using the size, turning it down, tracking, leading, stretching my text, using bold, light, italics, etc. those are all decisions that you are in charge of making for this. And I don't think my Photopea is going to want to come back, so I'm not able to continue on with this video. But please reach out if you have any questions on Canvas. Good luck.